This is just a quick review of the data visualization stuff we covered in the last video. Uh, get you ready for the uh, application exercise related to the Duke Forest. So again, what we need are some packages. We were using the Palmer Penguins package, which gave us the data. Tidyverse, which allows us to get our data and plot them. So the most important parts of that for us right now are dplyr and ggplot2. And we're also loading up a library called ggthemes, which allows us to specify different themes for the ggplot, and that will make some sense later. So we talked a little bit about bivariate analysis and how we could use different kinds of presentations to show densities of the density distributions of a the density distribution of something like body mass uh, for different species of penguin in this case. And we go over and look at the code. We can see that the code that we use for both is quite similar. Violin plots are another way of doing this. They're a little bit like mirrored density plots. They uh, can perhaps show us in some instances, they can be a better way of representing distributions. Uh, we can use multiple geometries on a single plot. In this case, we did the violin plots, and we're also looking at the individual points from the data set. The way these points are presented here, there's so much overlap between them that we can't really get any useful information out of that. But we can add something called a jitter to it, which will allow us to see the points with some random offset applied to them so that we can actually get a better feeling for where the points are in the graphic. And color happens. Sorry, color is often useful. In this case, we're coloring the plots by the species of penguin. And one of the things that you can think about is that if you don't need a legend, if it's redundant with something else, in this case the x-axis labels, you don't need to put it in. It gives you more space for presenting your data. So you don't need to present the same information twice. And again, you can change the different color scales to be appropriate for different kinds of uses. In this case, we're using one of the colorblind scales. Okay, so let's take a quick revisit to the Bechdel dataset, the one where we were looking at the return on investment with respect to the contribution of women or the representation of women in different films. Uh, we can read in the data with this command. We can take a look at column names, which we haven't done yet. Uh, and we can also do the glimpse. But sometimes the data come out in such a way that aren't really useful for analysis. Like all of these different box plots are extremely right skewed. The distributions are extremely right skewed. And the information that's probably of most use to us is hidden in this part of the box plot. We can use some data wrangling to uh, basically filter the data set and select the variables that we're interested in to show us the movies in from movies in 2013 with the highest return on investment. And we can also use this coordinate Cartesian thing to zoom in on the region that's got the most information, and we can get a better idea of what the data distributions are like. Okay, so a little introduction to data wrangling. So what we're doing here is we're taking a data set and summarizing it in terms of the median return on investment. So what we're doing with this part is we're removing all NAs from all observations where the return on investment is coded as an NA. And we can see that the return on the investment is 3.91 on average for gross returns. So uh, gross returns on average were almost 4 times as much as the film budget. We can group it by other information. So we were interested in the different kinds of codes for whether or not women were appropriately represented. So there were 5 different codes there. OK represents the one where women were represented. We can see that the median return on investment for movies that were coded as OK for female representation were had a higher median return on investment. We can look at the graphics. In this case, we added an extra bit. We added a vertical line that is centered on the median for the appropriate representation to make it easier for us to compare the return on the investment for all of the 5 different classes for the test results. So the application exercise for the Duke Forest, house prices on the Duke Forest is going to be left to you, basically. So I will leave you here and let you get to it.